name's Sarah Torres, and I'm a local musician, and I volunteer here at Parc, and I was trying to raise minimum wage just a little bit ago. One thing I see, America is the supposed land of the free, and yet it's a toddler nation. It hasn't even been around for 300 years, and yet everyone wants everything now and sooner and cheaper. And yet there's people on the street that have nowhere to go, and it's frosting outside. We don't get snow here, but it gets pretty darn cold. People die from there not being any places to go being homeless, and there's farces of missions and places that it just doesn't make sense when you shoo people away. To fix it, for one, I think America needs to wake up and needs to get into the streets. And I think and music is very powerful, and yet it hasn't been connected to a movement since the civil rights movement, I believe, in the 60s. And I think it's time for young people to stand up, to speak their mind, and to know that their voices and their thoughts need to be heard, or else the rich few are going to be deciding everything still.
Including what music to listen to.
Listen to my music.
Bingo! Bingo! All right.
Hi, my name's Verbena. I work here at Parc, People's Action for Rights and Community, as one of the fair wage folks who created the Eureka Fair Wage Act, or Measure R. My friend Kathy read this poem to the Arcata Homeless Task Force, or we call it Task Farce. I was on it till I resigned in protest. I was one of the 3 homeless people on it, and it was so horrendous and rigged. But anyway, she read this, and then it ended up in a zine that used to be around called the Plazoid. Brilliant zine. He came to the shelter that night. He had nowhere else to go to get away from the rain, the police, and the cold. But they had no room for him. He could not stay, he was told, for the city's money had been spent on war overseas and at home. So he walked the streets of Eureka looking for a place to sleep, a place to hide for a moment's rest from the crime and the police. Under an abandoned building, he found a place to be, and they demolished that building to build a jail, the jail they built on Jeffrey.
And you, sir, great beard.
My name is James, thank you. I help out here at Parc when I can, and I try to work within the community to make things better for folks. I was also part of the Measure R, the fair wage folks, to raise the minimum wage. The system is completely broken. There is no unique portion of it. The solution is to start over. Get rid of representative government and go back to a local system. We're going to have to negotiate the American standard of living, which they're saying is non-negotiable. It is unacceptable morally for folks to live as we live at the expense of everyone else on the planet. 2/3 of the world's population lives in abject poverty so that we can live the lifestyle that we live and the style that they live in Western Europe. And that is no longer acceptable in the world, I think. So,
awesome. What would you do to fix that? I mean, a couple of 1-2 steps or something.
Well, first thing you have to do is get rid of capitalism. And then once capitalism is gone, you talk to your neighbors and figure out how you want to go from there.
If you were to stand on a soapbox right now that you knew everyone heard what you said and they were going to do it, what would you be standing up talking about?
Stand up against the police state. Defend homeless people, defend Native people, defend people of color, defend youth, defend people who are targeted by the police and who are put easily into the system now, starting in elementary school, going into the school to prison pipeline. That needs to stop. And people, whether you feel directly affected by it or not, need to speak out, act out against it, start getting rid of the police in our communities.